Today, I'm fixing my future because someone has to. If you start my savings and investment plans with Old Mutual today, then my future will be smoother than Dad's head. So you get advice from the people at Old Mutual, and I'll get those gold stars to make you proud. Any questions?
Do future doctors pack their own lunches?
Start their journey by speaking to an Old Mutual financial advisor today. Invest in their future. Do great things every day.
iDiskiTV powered by World Sports Betting. iDiski Times co.za. Phumelela iqela laseyiphutha ezikafaro madoda iPyramids ibetha ke iMamelodi Sundowns ngamanqaku amabini kwelinye kwabe ke iSundowns ifana mthanyane aphela yonke lonhlahla yamagoli amanqaku angacacanga namanqaku acinywa ziVAR siwabona bayangenile abethwa ke kumdlalo kamagqibela kaNqo iMamelodi Sundowns. Qhwatya izandla ke kumane kusithiwa good luck lethu xanduva ukubuka lo mdlalo sikuxelela baleliphi iqela edlala indlela ephucukileyo ngethemba loba umthandazo wethu uthi makuphumelele eli iqela lidlala umdlalo ophucukileyo eloba unxiba umbala otyheli obomvu omnyama omhlophe alikho ixesha lalo leyo eyona team bekufanele uba iyaphumelela yile iteam yenza kakuhle ngebhola thatha ibhola ipase lomnye izame ucreate amanqaku iwakore amanqaku qhwabela izandla ke-Pyramids. Well done to the North African team. Very seldom that I will be very complimentary to a North African team, but they were an outlier. They were a different team. That's Pyramids, as we're seeing them being awarded their medals. People like Unwangu Kanu, I saw him there. Nigerian football legend, played for Arsenal, won the FA Cup with Portsmouth. I think he won 1995 UEFA Champions League with Ajax Amsterdam, unless I'm mistaken. And then, of course, there's President Patrice Motsepe, Dr. Patrice Motsepe as well, who is the president of CAF. He has to swallow his feelings and be a leader. There's Gayton Mackenzie, the South African Minister of Sport as well, on the podium, handing out medals to the referees as well. So that's the occasion. If Mamelodi Sundowns had won this game, it would have been a tribute to negative football, an ode to ugly football. And of course, it would have then symbolically meant that going forward, Sundowns will probably start hiring coaches who play negative football on the pretense that it wins. If you think negative football wins, just look at what happened to Coach Gavin Hunt towards the last few years of his career and ask yourself, the 3 league titles he won at SuperSport United in 2007, 8 and 9, and of course 2017 winning with Bidvest Wits. Where are they? How did he win them? Gordon Eggerson was chewed and spat out by the football game, even though he won 4 league titles with 4 different teams. 1 with Manning Rangers, 2 with Santos in 2001 or 2002, 3 with Mamelodi Sundowns, and 4 with someone else. With Orlando Pirates, I remember him juggling the ball, putting it on his neck as they won the league midweek. It was a Wednesday or Tuesday match that Gordon Eggerson won the league title with Orlando Pirates. You play negative football, eventually football will catch up to you. I apologize for taking your time. We're looking at Sundowns taking those silver medals with players like Sales. Some of the players that were assembled by Mamelodi Sundowns, you could say, are in excess of 100 to 200 million rands when you collectively look at them, how much they paid for Khubamelo Kgodisang, and Marcelo Allende, Lucas Ribeiro, and Sales, collectively. Exactly.
Jaden Adams.
It must be somewhere in the region of 100 to 200 million over the last 2-3 years. And the one thing that they've been doing, they've been recruiting these players in order for them to win the Champions League. And the football gods said no. What happened to PSG when they had Messi, Neymar, and of course Kylian Mbappe, PSG almost destroyed football, the fabric of it. They paid over 200 million for Neymar, which was uncalled for. It was ridiculous. They almost killed our sport, which is a beautiful sport. They paid over 150 million euros for Mbappe as well. They did not win the Champions League doing that. Yesterday, they won the Champions League by playing Desiree Doué, Bradley Bacola, some of the kids that belong in that city of Bondy in Paris. And football gives them that reward to say, well done, you have now done the right thing. So maybe playing or splashing money in football is not rewarding. We apologize for looking at the screens. We thank you for your patience as well.
Yeah.
Your feelings about the game so far?
Mr. Nkeu, where do we start?
Yeah, that was very nervous. I was shaking. Towards the last 10 minutes, I couldn't hold my arms.
I've never been this nervous.
Yes.
For the last 20 minutes was nerve-wracking.
I think if Sundowns had scored in the last 20 minutes, Jengobaba Kore 2-1, if they scored to make it 2-2, the players, excluding the coach, the players would have deserved it because they were chasing it. They were chasing it. They were chasing it. I blame the coach for playing negative football, but Reina scores and they take him out immediately. For Lebogang Motiba, which doesn't make sense. But then after that, Sundowns were just chasing it. Those players deserve something. Unfortunately for them, Pyramids deserve it better maybe.
That last 20 minutes, I thought they were going to have to kill us.
Yeah.
They killed us once. I thought they were going to have to kill us twice to win this thing. Because in that 20 minutes, I genuinely believe we were going to score the second goal. But
and you kept on saying that.
I kept on saying we're going to score.
It looked like it.
You know, I think there's no one who wanted Mamelodi Sundowns to lift this thing. But I just want to say that congratulations to Pyramids. Congratulations to the Croatian master tactician. I think I've said it when he played against the Orlando Pirates that I think he's an exceptional tactician. Yes, maybe there's things I don't like in his personality where he's too energetic on the bench. Very emotional. I don't think he allows players to express themselves. I think he takes serious decisions from the bench. But congratulations to these guys, to these experienced players, man. Abu Mohamed Chibi, Abu Mohamed Hadi, Abu Paliti, Tore, Fiston Mayela, Ramadan Sobi, and the goalkeeper as well, Al Shanawi. Very experienced team, if I check. And as well as I think I should say congratulations to Mamelodi Sundowns for reaching the final. This is not a moment of I told you so. Because in the beginning of, in January, when Coach Miguel Cardoso came, I had said that if he does not deliver the Champions League, he might not stay the rest of the season, he might not finish the season. Yeah. My argument was based on that. It wasn't based on the fact that he's not a good coach. I've never ever said...
You didn't see him coach at that point. Yeah. You had seen him at Esperance.
Yeah.
You were just following the logic. If njalo umuntu makangawini Champions League ngiyamxosha, kusho ukuthi nalo angeke ayiwine, kusho ukuthi you will have to fire.
Not only just that. I knew that Mamelodi Sundowns fans, I'm talking about real Mamelodi Sundowns fans, they would never tolerate that style of football. I knew watching him at Esperanza that Coach Roland did not lose against him. If you genuinely understand the football, you know that it was total dominance. For me, my biggest worry was when he came to Mamelodi Sundowns, it was an era. It was an end of an era of dominant football. That is something that was worrying me. From an analyst, a fan perspective, someone who's watched this club over the years, Ipilda, Ishushan and Piano, and Scream. I can only speak for the years that I've seen, right? And this club, there were periods in its inception after Dr. Patrice took charge, where you would see in Kulego that we undergone so many mistakes. For me, when they brought to Miguel Cardoso, that's the same feeling I had. I had this feeling that yes, we are chasing the biggest trophies, but we cannot sacrifice our soul chasing this trophy. We cannot lose ourselves chasing to win the CAF Champions League. The Champions League was going to be won eventually. But do not break, do not you cannot sacrifice the style of play. You cannot sacrifice how this team plays, how this team has been built over the years. With our coach Pito being involved, with black young coaches chasing excellence, not social. Yeah. For me, my biggest worry was, are we bringing in a guy to come and win us the Champions League? Is that what we are willing to sacrifice as a club? For me, I have never been willing to sacrifice that. I did not want to win the Champions League. Like, if we won the Champions League, I would have celebrated. I'm happy to see the president like that. A leader who still smiles. That means he's professional. I can come stand here on my interview and be professional, not be too emotional. But for me, my biggest worry was that we cannot sacrifice dominant football. And for me, in the last 2 years, it's the best football I've ever seen in my life. When
in South African, since the PSL era, I've started watching this game in 1995 when I was 5 years old. I've never seen someone as dominant as Coach Pito, but I think he was surpassed by Coach Rulani. Mamelodi Sundowns 2023 is the best team I've ever seen in this country. And I don't watch one team. I don't care about watching one team. I watch everything. I'm obsessed with football. That was the best I've ever seen since watching when I was 5 years old. I had never seen that. And your point is succinct, is perfect, that eventually you were going to win it.
Eventually.
One way or another, you were going to win it.
Do you know why people celebrate Pep Guardiola, Luis Enrique? It's because in football is the only sport where the dominant team sometimes does not win.
Doesn't always win, yeah.
And Manje, the reason why people will always celebrate Pep Guardiola is because of exactly that. In our periods in our lives, we've watched pragmatic defensive football. We've seen coaches Jose Mourinho. All of these coaches dominate football and winning football.
Football is catching up with Mourinho.
And now that kind of football at the time was not enjoyable. There were periods in our lives where we would criticize European football. Me specifically, you know what I think of the English football. And those coaches were dominating football. When Pep Guardiola came into English football, they said, you can never play like this at Stoke.
Yep.
And he said, I will show you. And this is the generation of coaches that we've bred. Gubo Coach Rulana, Bo Pep, Bo Luis Enrique. That dominant football can. That's why I'm a big lover of Pep. Because Pep is one of the coaches that proved to us globally in football that dominant football. It's not position football. People are mistaking this. It's dominant football.
And
having the ability.
They make the mistake of saying beautiful. They are being derogative by saying this beautiful football and I win.
Yeah.
It's not beautiful football. It looks beautiful when you're watching it, but it's football designed to dominate the opposition.
The most talented carry the heaviest burden. I think the people that carry the heaviest burden in football are people like me. I'm a purist. I'm happy when I coach a team. Even when we lose a game, I don't want to say anything to the boys. I tell them, pack your bags, let's go to the dressing room path, and we go home. When we win, that's when I'm very critical. Because that gives me an opportunity to speak about the things I cannot speak about when the team is not doing well.
Yeah.
I had said, you cannot sacrifice the soul of a club for the Champions League. And for me, I will stand by that. Pep Guardiola is not rated as a failure in England, even though he won the Champions League
only won it once.
But he's not a failure. And this, for me, Miguel Cardoso is not a failure. He's not a failure.
You're not a failure for losing
not.
Champions League.
But
It's
now,
a stupid opinion if you think someone is a failure for losing Champions League.
but don't sacrifice who you are. Stand for something as a man.
Yeah.
If it's dominant football, stand for dominant football. Stand for total football.
Yeah.
And for me, playing the moment as a coach is something that I had a problem with him. I already identified that this is not about the club. This is not about Mamelodi Sundowns. This is about him.
Yeah,
And for me, that's the biggest problem I've ever had. And that's why I always want to say, bring back Coach Roland. It's as simple as that. But also, I'm not naive, Nkuleko, to know that he also has his own challenges. When I spoke to Sembat, I have to be honest because I'm a lover of Coach Roland. He said, Lindo, I brought this guy into the club. So many dynamics happened with development football. Under 19, but so many dynamics happened. You cannot sacrifice my legends at the club. It's very important to have those people. It's very important to also have a relationship with the entire
with people.
work with together. It's very important to learn how to work with people. He gets to Mamelodi Sundowns, gets given an opportunity. He brings in Padela, he brings in Michael Loftman. I did not agree with that decision at the
Bring
time.
in your own people in an environment that is foreign even to you.
Yeah. And for me, when they let him go, I understood very well. It had also nothing to do with the fact that he kept Champions League. It's those decisions as well. But I think at the club now, knowing Utlopi, how much he loves him, Uchemen, sorry to call him Ngekam, Uchemen, knowing how much he loves Coach Rulani, how much he rates him as a coach, this is the right time to make I always say, Nkuleko,
Do you genuinely believe that I have to push back from a journalistic perspective? That do you think that this is the moment for? Because what I'm trying to do here, and I should have asked this with Junior as well. That every time it's like Coach Rulani and Coach Pizzo will be used as an albatross on the neck of all the coaches. Yeah. That if Nabi is not doing well, Coach Nasruddin Nabi is not doing well, Rulani, Pizzo. If someone else is not doing well, Rulani, Pizzo. If Hugo Bros is not doing well, Rulani, Pizzo. Is this the moment? Do you think that even the management is thinking that this moment, or are they more thinking about consoling the team? And would the management not think about this moment as it's positive because it's our first final in 9 years?
Nkuleko, being a realistic answer would be the management will never let go of Miguel Cardoso. It's 18 days before the Club World Cup. He reached the final. He won the league. Mamelodi Sundowns will always win the league. For me, the most disappointing result in his turn at Sundowns is losing against Kaizer Chiefs. In my opinion, with regards to Coach Rulani and Coach Pizzo, there's things to mention here. They are South African, but that's an advantage. They bring out the best in players. We know that some of our South African coaches, they've got their own agendas where he coach a figure and then he's got problems with certain players from certain clubs. Then he wants certain players to play because of him. That's the problem we have with our South African coaches. But you talk about those coaches, they don't do favors. The national team benefits. He improves younger players. You've seen him winning trophies. They've got an unbelievable win percentage. But what's important to mention, Nkuleko, what's important, and that's why Walter Steenbok did extremely well. That's why he even brought him when we went to the AFCON Satola Third. It's because of maximal football, purists. believing in the same structure in each and every club.
As a man, you must believe in something.
You must believe in something. And for me, this is what we are losing with not having a coach Peter, not having a coach Orlando. It's even deeper than winning the CAF Champions League. It's about the national team, Gulego. And for me, the national team is losing so much and not having those two coaches coaching in South African football. And that's why I will always be the biggest advocate for those two coaches to have the biggest jobs in this country. Whether it's a Pirates, it's a Chiefs, it's a Sundowns. But in this instance, the management is not thinking about letting go of Fulentus. But I think a week from now, maybe prior to or just after the FIFA Club World Cup.
Maybe the Club World Cup, because I think you're the weakest team there, or Ilsan Hyundai from, I think, Korea or Japan. If maybe you have an embarrassing showing at the Club World Cup, maybe that will push it a little bit more. But I think first final in 9 years, I am not advocating for him. I always hope that he who plays negative football must lose, including me and my child or my club. I don't care. If you play negative football, I always wish you must lose.
I criticized him when he was scoring 4 goals every game.
Yeah. So I'm saying that the circumstances, winning the Betway Premiership, first final in 9 years, maybe not doing well in the Club World Cup could be the reason. Maybe losing 3-0 in all of those matches maybe could be the reason. But I think for now, he's got credit in the bank, and especially with the fans as well.
He doesn't have credit with me because...
I know with you and I and so and Junior and everyone else here, because we watch these games forensically, we know what we're seeing. But there's a different country out there.
Yeah.
People are influenced by each other on social media. They are wishy-washy. They don't believe in anything. If Miguel Cardoso had won tonight, he would have been hailed as a genius with his negative football. Do you not think the management, because I think even the management is gullible. I think what Chiefs will do with Nabi will reflect that the management is as gullible as the people, the peasants. The management thinks that Cardoso has credit in the bank.
You know what, Nkulego? I have to stand here and give the management credit for even reaching the final. I think they've made some good decisions over the years. But I have to be honest, Nkulego. I have to be honest. I even when you're asking me, I'm trying to think about the questioning and how, but I cannot stay away from the fact that firing Coach Rulani was the biggest thing Mamelodi Sundowns has ever made.
Well, we are not there anymore. I agree with you. Me and you, we agree with that. But we're not there anymore. In this moment, is Miguel Cardoso starting the season as the coach of Mamelodi Sundowns next season?
For Mamelodi Sundowns and the management, they'll probably give him the chance. According to Lindo Pep, let him go. Bring Coach Rulani. For me, as a coach, he's done very well for himself in the last 6 months, but he hasn't won the CAF Champions League for Mamelodi Sundowns. The coach that you got fired won the AFL. I think he reached both finals, the MTN 8 and he failed
qualified for $1 billion of the Club World Cup.
Credit to him for reaching 73 points, the amount of goals that we've scored as a team. For me, Nkulego, we cannot sacrifice the soul of the club for trophies. And for me, this is one of the reasons why I am saying, for me, I'm not even if he won, he had won this thing. For me, I cannot sacrifice dominant football for trophies. For me, it is more important because dominant football goes in a longevity. You know what I mean? We would have won this trophy now, but Mamelodi Sundowns would have performed completely different. For me, I still want to see a dominant Mamelodi Sundowns. I still want to see players expressing themselves.
Now, the counter question will be, is Coach Pitso Mosimane and Rulani Mukwena the only people that know how to coach dominant football?
No. There are coaches there. You know, you can give a Fatu Davis. I like a Fatu Davis. I think.
Well, at Pirates and at Maritzburg United, he did not play this football that you want.
Yeah, but...
And even I watched the Confederations Cup final. I might offend people in Tanzania. I don't like... That's not my cup of tea, that football. Even their national team, I usually watch it sometimes. I've decided that's not my cup of tea because they don't play football. They are happy when they win. Yeah. But when you watch it, it's like, oh, but...
But if you remember that season at Maritzburg, I think he had some of the best
He went to the final in 2017 with Makaringe and Spesi Sendlovu and Abokwanda Mngonyama, Bandile Shandu. I watched that as a journalist. It was in Cape Town, the final. But forget the final. It was number 4 that season. I'm telling you right now, it was not on the basis of playing dominant football. Maybe the limitation was... He's got a smaller team, smaller players and so on. But many of his players went on to get signed by other teams. But now that he got an opportunity at Simba, it was not dominant football. Unless he's being told. You cannot shake off what you learn. I'm from Cape Town. You cannot shake off the foundations of being taught that football. That we come from a different culture in terms of football. The culture of going wide, crossing the ball, heading. He comes from Vasco da Gama, Coach Fadlu. Unless he shows a transformation, which is... I watched the final against Berkane. I watched it with my own eyes. I understand Tanzania has a different cultural context. But my point, besides Coach Fadlu, anyways, but maybe if they consider him, he might go to any club. Maybe Chiefs if they want to sign him, of Paris, whoever. I don't want to dismiss him. It's his career. My point is, there's going to come a time when every time Sundowns loses, we cannot talk about Coach Rulani or Coach Pizzo.
Yeah.
We're going to have to broaden our perspective. Now, those two coaches, they are available. They are the best out there. So it's understandable why we mention them. They don't pay us. They're not our friends.
Yeah.
They're the right people for the big jobs. But at some point, the coaches who are coaching maximal football, for example, the students of Ted Dumitru, are going to have to go out there and win league titles with smaller teams, unfortunately, even though that's unlikely. Do something special, and then we have to start seeing them. About Coach Zippo, about Kevin Johnson, and a lot of other coaches as well. Even me and you, we are coaches. If we're still interested in coaching, we're going to have to do that. All I'm saying is the pool of coaches that is available to play this football is dwindling, and we're not seeing enough of those coaches.
And Nkulego, the biggest problem with that's why I'm a biggest lover of the maximal training guys, because they've stuck to their guns, even though now you can criticize them at some point. But I think where football has moved to is something that's really painful. That's why some of the kids cannot watch the entire 90 minutes ball. They only watch 60 minutes and they're already bored. Well, Arsene Wenger said something very important, colleague. He said the next generation of coaches in the next 5 to 10 years are going to be scientists. And I think that's exactly what we are seeing. For me, the best coaches in the next 5 years are going to be pitch coaches. Because Nkulego, you cannot, we've seen it in Miguel Cardoso, not total football, percentage football has a problem that if your star players are not performing, you cannot always rely on individual brilliance. For me, I believe that the system will always put you in a better position. It's superior. It will always put you in a better position to win football games. And for me, because football has moved into a space where it's positional and scientific, we don't really have pitch coaches. Coaches that really genuinely know how to improve a football ideology, a football game model, to improve football players.
We'll continue this conversation during pre-season. We'll have a discussion. Hopefully we can have a roundtable discussion. Let's wrap it up then. The Betway Premiership, that's successful. Coach of the season, probably. Out of the Nedbank Cup. By the time he got there, Stellenbosch had already kicked Sundowns out of the MTN 8. Coach Manqoba lost also in the final of the Carling Cup. Lost in the final tonight as well. Let's reflect, and I'll give you 2 minutes to reflect on whether or not a binary question, success or not success. Only one trophy won, 2 finals, success or not unsuccessful for Sundowns this season.
Kolego, a very difficult question, to tell you the truth. The one thing that I will probably say is successful, and credit to the players. I mean, the only credit I want to give is the players. I think players like Abo Ronza, Tebogo Mkoena, Marcelo Allende, Peter Shalulile, and so on, and Lucas Ribeiro, I think they were exceptional this season. I think these players have given everything for this football club. I think some of the performance that they had this season were incredible, more especially Lucas Ribeiro. As an institution, I think Mamelodi Sundowns did exceptionally well, bringing in high-profile players, raising the standards of Betway Premiership. It's important for Pirates, Chiefs, and the rest of the teams to catch up to Mamelodi Sundowns. That's the biggest credit. Credit to Mamelodi Sundowns for giving us the players that we have.
In other words, success? Success,
but let go of the coach.
All right, there you go. Thank you very much, Lindo Pep. We can't make it 30 minutes long. I have no dog in this fight. I always pray for the team that's dominant to win. In fact, if I were to publicize my feelings once the game is on, most of the time you would think I hate your club. I hate Chiefs, or I hate Pirates, or I hate Sundowns. I do not care. As long as the dominant team wins, I'm happy, because we ask the football gods to reward those who say to us, thank you for watching us. To those who say it's very expensive. It's very expensive to watch these matches. The tickets, or even the time, actually, to sit and watch these teams. So I always say thank you. In fact, the Sundowns players, the last 20 minutes, they would have deserved it. They went, they threw the kitchen sink, hammer and tongs, but unfortunately for them, a football match doesn't start in the last 20 minutes. It starts from the beginning. That's why you have to dominate from the beginning. But if that coach doesn't have that system, you are doomed. iDiskiTV, iDiski Times, we're suspecting. For breaking news, go to iDiskiTimes.co.za.
Shapunjan bafowethu igama lami Lindo Pep, the best analyst in the country. Please don't forget to subscribe to iDiskiTV. Tanko.
This is Bongane Benedict Villagazi, they call me so. Niazi bafowethu, I'm a coach for life. They are back in winning ways. Please, subscribe to iDiskiTV.